Grammys even matter to you at this point?
Absolutely fucking not. You care if Tupac or Snoop or Nas or whoever doesn't have a Grammy?
Nah, that's
Look at the people that have number
are.
ones and have Grammys. They clowns. A lot of them are clowns. We don't care because in 50 years we're not going to be talking about them.
Hello everybody, it is officially Grammys season and the day I am filming this video is actually the day it will air. I'm sure you all know the Oscars event recently had that whole messy controversy that literally everyone was talking about. So since the Grammys are coming up, I'm excited to see what mess they are going to stir up in order to boost their ratings. Anyways, today's video is going to be exposing the very famous award show for its corrupt process, and I will be including the many celebrities and artists that have exposed the show themselves. So here's a quick history lesson for those of you who don't know what Grammys are, or if you've never watched one of their shows. The very first Grammy Awards aired on May 4th, 1959, and the image to represent the awards is a gramophone to symbolize the celebration of music excellence. I'm sure you've all seen the pictures of artists holding their gramophone trophies. The Grammys were established to celebrate and honor the many talented artists over the generations that have created an impact in the music industry. Many people get confused between the major 4 Academy Awards for entertainment, and I often hear people misusing the terms and saying, oh, Beyonce's Single Ladies is so great, she deserves an Oscar for that. Or Leonardo DiCaprio deserves a Grammy for his performance in Titanic. Those are just some examples of the confusion between the different Academy Awards, but that's why I'm here to inform you all. The Oscar Awards are focused mostly on excellent performances in film and movies specifically. The Emmys celebrate the accomplishments of actors in the television industry. They reward based on performances that we see in our favorite TV series. Lastly, the Tony Awards recognize excellence in Broadway and live theater performances. There is an acronym in the entertainment industry representing all 4 major Academy Awards, EGOT. EGOT represents an Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and a Tony Award. EGOT is very rare to achieve for most celebrities, but some winners include Audrey Hepburn, Whoopi Goldberg, and John Legend. Many huge artists who have been in the music industry for a long time have come out with their feelings about the Grammys. There has always been conflict with the lack of representation, inclusion, or appreciation towards Black artists. I'm going to be deep diving into all of this mess and discussing the many conflicts that artists have come out about pertaining to the Scammys. It's going to be a lot, so grab your snacks, your popcorn, whatever you like, and we can get into this. Nicki Minaj was one of the first celebrities in 2012 that I recall having a conflict with the award show. She has a very rocky history with the show, especially the producers behind it. Nicki encountered a conflict with the producer Ken Ehrlich, who has also had a public controversy with Ariana Grande. Ken is a huge TV producer and director in Hollywood and is the man behind the show running everything, and has been for the past 40 years. In 2012, Nicki Minaj was invited to perform at the Grammys because she was in her prime during her career. So Nicki recorded a bunch of promotional commercials with LL Cool J so they could bring more attraction to the show. She did all of the work that the producers asked her to do and was extremely excited to be performing for her first time. She had always been hoping to either get nominated or win a Grammy eventually, since these are huge accomplishments. However, moments before Nicki was supposed to hit the stage, the officials informed her that she wasn't allowed to perform anymore. This was after they were informed of Whitney Houston's death.
It just so happened that Whitney Houston passed away. And when I was about to go on stage, not the day before, not in the morning, but when I was about to go on stage, I was told by my then management that the people from the Grammys wanted to speak to me. They came into my dressing room and said, "We don't think you should perform. We don't want you to perform anymore."
Why?
And I said, huh? And I was already ready to go on stage. And they were like, well, because of the passing of Whitney Houston. and we don't think that I had no clue why and how. Even then, it made absolutely no sense, and I was just like, this makes no sense. And there was no one there that even spoke up for me. Like, they didn't care to explain it. Nobody on either side spoke.
Yeah.
And this is after I had just done a bunch of commercials with LL Cool J to promote the Grammys. After I did everything they asked, they came the day of the show and told me not to perform. And I said, no, I'm going to perform. Ken Ehrlich reached out to my then management and said, can you please tell Nicki to stop speaking about it? And I thought that was weird because I didn't know how it was an issue for him. Like, it's my brand. I have to explain myself. I'm the one getting backlash. I didn't understand the power that man had to start to completely blackball me for the rest of my career. But that's exactly what happened. I just did all this to promote your show and to get viewers. So I went out there and he blackballed me for the rest of my career. He then made me feel afraid to speak on it because thinking, well, if you do ever want to get a Grammy, you better not speak about it.
That was the first and last performance of Nicki Minaj at the Grammy Awards show. She was upset because she also got snubbed for the Best New Artist award, which eventually went to Bon Iver. She rarely attends any future events and in fact claims that Ken Ehrlich blackballed her into fear of losing her career. She was so scared for 7 years that she didn't come out about her experience until 2019 when Ariana Grande publicly feuded with Ken. Frank Ocean decides to boycott the Grammys in 2017 to display his disappointment with the institution. He claims that he considered it his Colin Kaepernick moment because the industry is known to mistreat and misrepresent Black artists. He makes the decision to not submit his album Blonde and his visual album Endless for consideration. This is part of the voting process, but I'll get into that later. Frank tells New York Times, that institution certainly has nostalgic importance. It just doesn't seem to be representing very well for people who come from where I come from and hold down what I hold down. He continues, I'd rather this be my Colin Kaepernick moment for the Grammys than sit there in the audience. After this encounter, Frank Ocean has not been seen at any future Grammy Awards, nor has he been considered or nominated. The artist is fine with that because he claims that the voting system is rigged and unfair towards Black artists who deserve more recognition and aren't receiving it. So Miss Ariana Grande decided to pull out of her 2019 Grammy performance. Mr. Ken Ehrlich decides to be shady in a press interview and states that the pop star felt that it was too late to put something together for the show, which is the reason that she canceled. But Ariana clapped back on Twitter as soon as she heard about this to clear up the lies. Ariana states, I've kept my mouth shut, but now you're lying about me. I can pull together a performance overnight and you know that, Ken. It's when my creativity and self-expression was stifled by you that I decided not to attend. I hope the show is exactly what you want it to be and more. She continues, I offered 3 different songs. It's about collaboration. It's about feeling supported. It's about art and honesty, not politics, not doing favors or playing games. It's just a game, y'all. And I'm sorry, but that's not what music is to me. This is when Nicki steps in to co-sign Ariana and tweets this. I pissed off the same man Ariana just called out for lying. Grammy producer Ken. I was bullied into staying quiet for 7 years out of fear. But I'll tell my fans the real on the next episode of Queen Radio. They deserve the truth.
This is why when Ariana called him out the other day, I said, this man is still doing the same shit. And then I did my research and found out he's been doing clown, corny shit to people. And they've just been bullied into being quiet. But now...
However, Ariana does end up winning the Grammy she was nominated for. It was for Best Pop Vocal Album for her Sweetener album. The Weeknd's conflict with the Grammys is probably one of the most known instances that is up to date. His issue with the award show prompted tons of other artists to come out in support of him during this situation. The Weeknd performed in the 2021 Super Bowl halftime show, and allegedly that caused conflict between him and the Grammy producers. Here's why. So in November of 2020, when the nominees for 2021 Grammys were announced, The Weeknd was nowhere to be found on the list. Many people wondered why that was the case, because his After Hours album was #1 on the Billboard charts for 4 consecutive weeks. A very upset Abel tweets, "The Grammys remain corrupt. You owe me, my fans, and the industry transparency." And fans were outraged on behalf of him. He continued by tweeting, Collaboratively planning a performance for weeks to not be invited? In my opinion, 0 nominations equals you're not invited. As you can see here, he was very upset, but who wouldn't be? I would feel some type of way if I were snubbed as well. A source claimed that there was an ultimatum given, resulting in a struggle over him also playing the Super Bowl that went on for some time, and it was eventually agreed upon that he would perform at both events. He didn't even get nominated that year for his successful album After Hours, and many people had a lot to say about this. Halsey posts in defense of The Weeknd, and it makes a lot of sense as to why they might have been upset with him choosing the Super Bowl over their show. Halsey wrote on her Instagram story a very long message, but the most important part that backs up The Weeknd's claims states, "It's about committing to exclusive TV performances and making sure you help the Academy make their millions in advertising on the night of the show." It seems like he was given an ultimatum to either perform at the Grammys or at the Super Bowl. I definitely think that they wanted him to perform and advertise to boost their ratings, just like they used Nicki in 2012. The Weeknd planned to boycott the Grammys from then on, and other artists showed their support to him by either boycotting or speaking out about their experiences. Beyoncé, being the most nominated artist of the night, decided to boycott the event and even canceled her performance in support of The Weeknd. Drake also expressed his support for The Weeknd during his shout-out at the 2021 Grammys. There are an endless amount of celebrities that have exposed the Grammys, but I can't include all of their stories in this video because it would be way too long. So I'm just going to put a couple of honorable mentions of artists who have slammed the award show. I just want to add an instance from 2018 when the producers of the show were accused of being sexist and biased. Many people were asking them why there weren't as many female artists who won compared to male artists, and this was their response. It's a really long statement, but basically one of their producers, Portnow, says something that's super ridiculous, and it did not help their statement. Portnow states that women need to step it up because I believe they would be welcome. I mean, do I really have to explain the issue with this statement? Many artists and fans drag the producers for even saying this. Artists like Charlie XCX tweeted, even Pink wrote a paper statement, like she literally wrote it in pen because that's how upset she was. Now that we understand more about the people running the show and the ones in power, we can understand why artists get upset. This response in itself is very telling of how the producers view female artists, and I can't help but think there's a huge bias in the system, which is why it's so rigged. So let's talk about their voting system and process. So this explanation of the Grammys voting process is pulled directly from their official website. They answer frequently asked questions that fans and viewers usually have. First step is the submission process. Record labels and music companies decide with their clients, which would be the artist, which pieces or albums they would like to submit for that year. The pieces have to be eligible for the submission year. So basically, these artists would submit any of their work that they believe is worthy of recognition or celebration. The screening process is where more than 350 experts review all of these submission pieces and categorize them according to the appropriate genres. They are classified as rap, R&B, jazz, country, all that good stuff. According to the Grammy website, this process is not intended for judging the pieces or viewing them subjectively, but rather it is a process to make sure they are placed in the proper categories. The first round ballots are sent out to the voting members. Voters are assigned to only vote in their areas of expertise, and they cannot vote outside of that box. They are allowed up to 10 categories, up to 3 genre fields, plus the 4 categories of the general field. This is where I personally feel like it can get tricky because they can be extremely biased and alter the results according to which artists cater to them and who didn't. So they get to decide who deserves to be nominated on the list. The final voting process is similar to the nomination process. Voting members vote once again in their areas of expertise as to who they believe the winner of that category should be. So that's basically how they determine their Grammy winners of the year. Now that we understand the voting process and how these huge award shows work, it's understandable why some of our favorite artists have never won or even been nominated. There's an extremely biased and rigged system behind the Grammys, and I'm sure that's the same for a lot of other award shows as well. The ones in power behind the scenes have the authority to determine who wins and even threaten to blackball artists for speaking out. They basically just want them to shut up and be an industry pawn catering to what they want. However, winning awards does not define their level of talent and skill because they are simply just trophies. I used to believe a Grammy Award symbolized talent, hard work, and impact in the music industry. I'm sure that's what all of these artists believed too until they were subject to this mistreatment. That's what these producers want us to believe, and you know what? After all these instances, it seems like nobody wants to watch or attend the event anymore. A Grammy doesn't mean anything, and it has lost its meaning along the years. Artists definitely don't need nominations or awards to define their success in the industry. If it were up to the public, many of those deserving artists would receive a Grammy 110%. However, we don't know if any of these problems will change over the years as long as those people are still in power and the same voting system is reinforced every year. Will you be watching the Grammys this year? Let me know your thoughts on this video below, and I'll see you all next time.